what in the hell do I say about Barnyard? I mean, for one thing, it's from Mo Entertainment, the same animation company behind Jimmy Neutron. So you think that mean it'd be good, right? Right? Also, you got Kevin James playing the main character. Think it'd be good, right? Frankly, I couldn't stand this movie, sitting through it, if you ask me. It's not that I hated it by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a bad movie. I mean, what in the hell? Here's the plot, basically. It takes place on a farm where all the animals are alive when the farmer isn't around. Kevin James plays Otis, a irresponsible slacker cow who is constantly told by his father Ben, played by Sam Elliott, that he needs to do better and be more responsible. That it's important to be able to make sure that everybody else is taken care of and not just himself. Otis would rather go around hanging out with his friends, however, and he develops interest in a pregnant cow who comes to the farm, played by Courteney Cox, although he's constantly shut down by her friend, played by Wanda Sykes. However, an evil coyote by the name of Dag, played by David Koechner, is constantly menacing the farm with his others, and on one particular night ends up attacking and killing Ben. Thus, the responsibility of the farm now falls on Otis. And sure enough, Otis does not know how to do this. Can he figure it out? Can he protect everyone from Dag? So yeah, this movie, I think aside from the fact that it's a comedy, but it's not funny, and yet it managed to be popular enough to get a show on Nickelodeon, Back to the Barnyard, it's such a tonal mess. This is one of the most, so unaware of itself movies I've seen. It's constantly doing stuff for comedic purposes because it's made for children, but then it's trying to be more serious, and it ends up being just so haphazard at so many points in time and so confused about what it wants to be. I mean, I suppose Kevin James is fine. The voice acting is... I don't know about all the voice acting being fine, but then, David Koechner, he's intimidating as the villain, but at the same time he feels like a villain in a different movie. He feels like he's not supposed to be the antagonist of this film. I mean, this is a coyote who's not only killed tons of animals who are alive and eaten them, but at the same time he's threatening to eat a baby chicken as an appetizer before eating her mother. In one scene, he's holding up. In another, he has a necklace of all the chickens he's eaten of their feet. This is some sick and twisted stuff, which would be fine in an animated film, but at the same time, a movie this childish and stupid, you're having this stuff in there? It's not fitting. It's not working for those reasons. And at the same time, I find a lot of these characters to be utterly obnoxious. I mean, you get the obvious, boy with the braces who, tips the cow and laughs about it. He's supposed to be annoying. But at the same time, I don't know if she's supposed to be annoying, but one of the neighbors next door, she talks like this all the time, and she does that southern, Marge Gunderson type accent, which you betcha, yeah, I can't really do it myself, but my God, it's grating. It's grating on the ears. And it just, not to mention the fact that just these characters, I mean, I get the point that they're kind of supposed to be, that a lot of these characters are slackers and that they're not the most mature people, but then I'm not finding any of them charming in the slightest. I mean, and like I said, the total mess of this film. You have the mourning Ben in one scene, and then you have the next scene involving a wild dance party with this little creature being let out of a box. And there was a point in this movie where I was broken. There was a point where I kind of couldn't help but laugh, and I couldn't find the words to describe what I was thinking about this, what I wanted to say about this. And it just, not to mention you have a point where Dag is threatening to kill everybody unless Otis leaves the farm and lets them just hunt whoever they want whenever they want. And then you have Otis trying to convince his friend Reggie the rat, I don't know, to, if I got that wrong, I apologize, to not tell anybody about the fact that he's leaving and just let him do it quietly. And then Reggie yells it at the top of his freaking lungs. And I'm just, oh my god. And there's, not to mention there's a bit where, like, the fox is constantly trying to eat the chicken. And it just, and why am I supposed to find this funny? I don't find this freaking funny. It's not. It's really just questionably annoying. And the animation in this film, I suppose the animation of the animals is fine, but the animation of the humans is hideous. It is hideous. I mean, yeah, I know this is the same animation company as Jimmy Neutron, and the humans didn't always look the best, but at the same time, they were nice looking people despite the fact that you didn't quite buy them as people. These people, no, they're freaking caricatures. They're stereotypes. And they're kind of offensive stereotypes at that, too. And not to mention there's also a bit in the film where, like, they're constantly knocking out the farmer when he keeps waking up and seeing that they're sentient. And again, I'm just trying to process in my head, what the hell am I supposed to get out of this? It's very much the same as I did with Nacho Libre. 2006 was a weird year for Nickelodeon in movies, except for the next one, which happens to also be a movie about talking animals, and we'll get to that when we get to that. In the meantime, though, this film, I want to get away from this barnyard as quickly as possible.